Sister Ava Muhammad, and all of those who help her with the study circles. Thank you very, very much. Sister Ava is partly responsible for these study guides. Sometimes, I don't know whether you understand exactly what I'm about to say, but you know, there are certain people who have a certain chemistry that allow you to create. Sister Ava has the kind of spiritual chemistry that causes her to love the word of Allah. She loves Master Farad Muhammad. She loves the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. She loves the work of Islam. And because of that love, there's a chemistry that allows me absolutely to create. That's, I guess, the best word I can use. Because this material flowed as though you turned on a faucet and it just came without a lot of thought, preparation, or study. It came from the inside out based upon my study of the words and teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I cannot impress upon each of you how great the value is of Message to the Black Man. How to Eat to Live. The Fall of America. And Our Savior Has Arrived. And every article written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Brother Farrakhan, in my early formative years, studied 8, 9, 10 hours a day. While I was on my job working for the enemy, I was always thinking about Islam. And when I got a little break for lunch, I would begin to study scripture, lessons, whatever, to prepare for lectures. When you study 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and my main study was always the Messenger's teachings, that means that the root of everything that I say and do today, if you look, you'll find it right there in the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So if you want to become a giant today, you have everything you need to become great with. And it starts with Message to the Black Man. How to Eat to Live, books 1 and 2. Our Savior Has Arrived. Fall of America. Student enrollment. Your lessons. Eat up the teachings. There is no one too old or too young that these teachings will not affect you for good and make you a highly intelligent individual. I'm hoping that we won't be like the Indians, the Native Americans, who turned over Manhattan Island to the devils for trinkets. I hope that we won't be like the Native Americans who gave up a country because they didn't know the value fully of what was beneath their feet. If you don't understand the value of God giving you a messenger, you will take the word of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad lightly. And then when the enemy throws daggers and darts at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, He's doing that so that you would lose confidence in him and then throw away a body of knowledge that is so rich that it means not just your salvation, but it means the salvation of unborn generations. Some of the Muslims that are sitting here in this circle knew the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, came in under his teachings. I'm looking at Sister Adrian right now. And Sister Adrian and Brother Frank were blessed with children. Children, many of whom did not have any pork in their system. Do you know what a blessing that is to grow up pork-free? Where your parents don't smoke, they don't drink, and they produce offspring. Now the offspring produces offspring. And if you look at this little one sitting there in that pretty yellow dress, she is far beyond all of us, potentially. And when you look at her, you can say, this is the blessing that I got for following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You see it more in the children. You will see it in yourselves, but you'll see it more in the children. Now, brothers and sisters, we all enter the nation as students. I am still a growing student. I don't even know what grade I'm in yet. I know I have not received my diploma. But if I haven't received my diploma, and the world is shaking from a student of a student of a master that made his first student a master. And now the master is making a student to become a master. That's some way down the road, but we're all on that journey. Every one of us in here that has taken this study is on that journey. Now, brothers and sisters, study is easy. The lessons say you can accomplish the above said with very little study. You don't have to study 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You don't have that kind of time. But if you just put in an hour a day on this study, you will see how greatly your mind improves. Making a Muslim today is much more difficult than it was making Muslims in the time of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Evil was not spread as far and wide in that day as it is now. Filth and evil is everywhere today. When I became a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there were certain things you could not do on television. And I remember when I was performing on television as a calypso artist, I used to wear these kind of, ruffled sleeves that you see in these Cuban things, with a little opening in the chest and the kind of movement that the body would make in Latin music or Caribbean music or African music. They would not allow no such movement on television. And if I slipped and made such movement, the camera focused from the chest up. Not today. Filth has gone wild today. And so our children are being bombarded with things that many of us, the older ones, never had to deal with. So we do not realize how deeply affected our own children have become with the filth that is being portrayed on television, in the movies, on the rap records, on the radio. It's gone crazy. So much so that young people today have become insensitive to the degree of filth that they're being hit with. So they'll sit and see things, and it doesn't mean anything to them because they've seen it so much. With some of us who are older, we couldn't go to a movie and look at that kind of stuff without feeling strange. But the younger ones, there ain't nothing to them. Well, now, how are you going to make good Muslims in an environment like this if we don't study and deepen our understanding of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? We got to be deeper than we were when the messenger was here, in order to just be as righteous as we were when the messenger was here. We don't have to be more righteous if we could just be as righteous. But you got to be deeper in the study in order to equal the Muslim of yesterday. Because the Muslim of yesterday did not have to contend with what we're contending with today. So this study, which came from the heart of Brother Farrakhan, based on my study of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it came as a result of my longing for, craving for spiritual depth. And when I used to teach as a young minister deep spiritual truths, the messenger would get after me and tell me that the people were not ready for what I was teaching or attempting to teach at that time. This is true. He said, they'll think you're trying to make a slave out of them, brother. Because the basis for making you and me great is obedience to God. That's the whole basis of our coming up out of this thing. You must know God, you must love God, you must obey God. That's plain and simple. But when you tell people, obey God, obey God, obey God, then they begin to say, well, man, he's trying to make a slave out of me or something, man. Now, I don't want to obey God all the time. I want to obey me sometime. Yeah, and obeying us at any time is dangerous. I think we better learn how to obey God all the time. But I'm saying that to say this. I saw in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we were so busy talking about the white man. The white man this, the white man that, the white man this. The mosque was supposed to be the house of God, and the devil was getting more time in the house of God than the God was getting. We come to the mosque to learn about Allah, and the whole lecture was on what white folk did to us. Well, at one point, that's necessary. But after you know what the white man did, and you know who he is, then what you got to understand, and we got to understand, is who we are. And since this enemy came from us, then there's something in us that produced him, and whether he lives or dies, we got to deal with the thing in us out of which a devil was made. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in effect, what Brother Farrakhan is calling you to is a lot more difficult than the past. Because Brother Farrakhan is urging on us the supreme jihad. Jihad comes from an Arabic root, jahada, which means to strive or exert oneself to the fullest against any object of disapproval. Now, is a difficult battle to engage against a white man, and that's a hard battle, because he's an old, seasoned warrior. But you haven't been in a battle until you try to battle yourself. Now, what we would like to do is go engage the white man. Let's go fight him. He's the devil. Let's go get him. This is what he did to us. I was telling the guests at my dinner table this evening, years ago it was easy to teach that the white man is the devil. It's not so easy to teach that today in the face of black-on-black crime, violence, hatred, and destruction. So when you say that the white man is the devil, some black person can point to you some black person that has done them in. They have never been done in by no white man. So if we don't confront the evil of self and become analytical of our motivation, why we do what we do, why we say what we say, if we don't become critically analytical of what gave rise to the certain thought that came up in our mind that led to a certain action, if we don't become analytical of that, then how will we ever make ourselves into what God wants us to be? So in our first stage of development, it's all right to look at the white man and cast a stone at him. That's fine. And we should continue to cast stones at him. But you must recognize that the real war will never be with him. The real war was, is, and shall be with self. And when we conquer self, then there's no way for the enemy outside to get in. So for all intents and purposes, the devil is dead when you master self. Because if he can't deceive you, if he can't subliminally suggest evil to you, because your mind is always on the alert, you're walking your post in a perfect manner, observing everything within sight or hearing, and you know when Satan is talking, even if it's coming from your mother or your brother or your sister, you know when Satan is prompting. You say, I see where that's coming from. But you got to be alert to peep Satan. He ain't always coming in white flesh. He could come as your friend. And if you don't recognize evil coming out of yourself and out of your brother and out of your sister and catch it, like Jesus was talking to Peter. Peter wasn't no devil. But Peter made a suggestion and Jesus said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." He rebuked Satan coming out of one of his own disciples. Are you wise enough to Satan to rebuke him when he comes up out of yourself and when he comes up out of your husband or your wife or your sister or your brother or somebody posing as a minister? Because today wolves are coming in sheep's clothing. So all the sheep look like sheep, but some of them are real wolves. I mean, I'm not trying to get anybody in no trouble, but we just gotta be sharp today. And that's what the study is about. It's about introspection. It's about looking within. I mean, it's easy to look at your brother. Now that, wasn't for that so-and-so, I wouldn't be in this faith. That nigga did it. See, it's so easy to blame somebody else for your condition, isn't it? But the more you blame others, you only using it as a smokescreen to keep from looking at yourself. Look at you now. What did you do to contribute to your condition? And then when you face yourself squarely, why wait for God to judge you? Why not use his wisdom to judge yourself? Judgment is going on every minute. With the wisdom of God in your head, if you allow the messenger of God from within to speak to you and don't kill him, then God will talk to you and me and say, "No, brother, you shouldn't think like that. No, sister, don't do that. Don't touch that dial." You understand? But if it's something you want to do more than obey God,
then you silence the voice. And the voice of God is the seed of God that will grow into God if it's fed right. That's what Jesus meant when he said, Peter, lovest thou me? Yes, you know I love you, Lord, but feed my sheep. And Jesus said, well, Peter, lovest thou me? He said, well, Lord, you just asked me that words. Yes, I love you. He didn't say, well, love me. Show me you love me. Feed my sheep. Then he asked him the third time. He said, well, feed my lambs. But what was he talking about? Feed them corn? Feed them grain? Feed them grass? His sheep were not four-legged sheep. His sheep were human beings in whom was the seed of God. Feed the seed of God in my people, that my mind will grow in them, that they will be gods like I am a God. So that as God walked in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and God walked in the person of Elijah Muhammad, then God will walk in your and my person, growing our minds up into God that people can't fool you no more. Can the devil fool a Muslim? Not nowadays. He fooled us yesterday, but not today. Because the mind of God is growing in us, and we can recognize Satan wherever we find him. Whence cometh thou, Satan? He's walking with the sons of God, but the sons of God didn't even recognize him. It was God that had to say, whence cometh thou? See, you ain't got to wait for God to say, whence cometh thou? You can look and see what you're walking beside. Hold it, brother. Hold it, sister. You ain't sounding right. How you know I'm not sounding right? Because I got a criterion to measure you by. I'm measuring you by the standard of God, and that's the same standard I'm measuring myself by. I know when I ain't sounding right. I know when I'm not thinking right. I know when I'm not doing right. Don't you? Then don't shine the light on somebody else. Shine the light on yourself. And then go to work to make yourself better, then the nation will be made better. Is that all right? Yeah. Well, now. So, brothers, sisters, gee, this is a wonderful little study group tonight. And I wanted to just sit with you tonight, and maybe you may throw some questions at me based upon the study. I don't want to talk anything outside of the study guide. I just want to talk about the study guide. And if there's something that you wish to ask of me about the study guide that you have been going through, and it's a great opportunity. You all have finished study guide 18? You think you have. If you ain't working on it, it may be working on you, huh? But you never finish. You never finish, because the more you study, the more you see, the more you see, the more you want to see. And it's ever, ever revealing. But I don't have a lot of times, but I promised that I would be here tonight, and I wanted to fulfill my word. And so if there are questions on the study guide, I will ask Sister Ava if she will recognize you, and don't be bashful. Just ask a question. I don't say that I have the answer, but I'll do my best to try and answer your questions on any of the study guides from 1 to 18. Yes, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam. In the Quran and the Bible. Yes, thank you. In lesson number 2, question number 1. Who makes the Holy Quran or Bible? It tells us that the Holy Quran or Bible is made by the black man of Asia, the supreme being, who is Allah. Now, that's a very heavy statement. The messenger writes in Message to the Black Man that all of what you see, sun, moon, and star, it is from our fathers, Who is the we? It's many persons of like mind functioning from the wisdom of the originator. And we adorned the lower heaven with stars. And we made man, and we know what his mind suggests to him. We are the we. Our fathers are the we. And now Allah says in the Quran, had we wished to take a pastime from before ourselves, we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth at falsehood till we knock out its brain. Who is the we? Is us, who are acting in accord with the will of God. He said, help me, and I will help you. Well then, if we are God's helpers, and we are functioning on His will, then we are casting truth at falsehood. Like our fathers aided in the development of the universe. We are not that proficient yet, so the least we can do is aid God in casting truth at falsehood till we knock out its brain. The we is us. All praise is due to Allah, a family and a nation of gods. As David the psalmist said, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. And the messenger of Allah writes that Allah created himself, and then studied himself, and found in himself another self, the female, and brought her out of self, and then went into what he brought out of self to reproduce self. So just a nation of gods. All of us go right back to the beginning of God himself. Before there was a sun, moon, and star, we were there with him. And we shall be there when all of this closes down as the architects of that which is coming in that is brand new. We, us, the original people. Yes, ma'am? The self-accusing spirit is never given the pronoun, the collective soft pronoun, we. The spirit is given the pronoun it. It, the spirit. Neither male nor female is the neuter gender. Huh? So the self-accusing spirit is that which is within you of God that allows you to be accused of it when you act contrary to it. My spirit is the energy of my life. It is it, but I am. I am. It is the product of my I amness. The energy of my being is it, but I am not it. I am I. It's really, the language is profound. And the Quran is perfect mathematics. And it isn't making no mistake mathematically. And it didn't make a mistake when it used we. It never makes a mistake when it uses I. And it never makes a mistake when it uses it in reference to the Spirit of God. Ruh. The Ruh, the Spirit. Not male or female, it. And that Spirit is in all of us. That self-accusing spirit. And where does it come from? That's where you want to get. See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that the first thing that is formed in new life, when the sperm meets the egg,
you get the first cell of life. And the first thing that is actually formed is brain. There's no need for hands and feet without brain. It is brain that calls them into existence. So the cell of the brain is constructed by God, as the messenger taught us, to think right. So at the core of the brain cell is the essence of what God is. Righteousness. See? So if my brain is constructed to think right, whenever wrong comes in, something contrary to right, something in my brain will suggest to me I shouldn't do that. Because the God who created my brain is a righteous God. There's no evil in him. So the very essence of you and me is righteousness. And the spirit out of which we act, the energy that flows from that brain, is a righteous energy. But when we give in to the lusts of the flesh and evil promptings coming from desires that are contrary to the will of God, then the righteousness of the brain will speak to our error. And then we have the chance either to answer affirmatively and say to the rightness of our brain, I will do right, and eschew evil, or we will give in to our weak desire. And then we begin to think and act against the nature of the brain. And when we act against the nature of the brain cell, we begin to destroy the beauty of our own minds, and we begin to cast a veil over our seeing and our hearing, and the heart becomes dull. And we begin wandering in our inordinacy blindly, thinking that we see, but we are now blind because we've gone against the self-accusing spirit. You can't get away from yourself. You are the righteous. Make no mistake about it. I don't care what you do that's other than right. You are the righteous. And every time we act contrary to what we are, we kill the power of our minds. This thing here, this is a universe bigger than this universe. This universe is the expression of something here. And it can only be comprehended in its majesty by this. And the more we think wrong and act wrong, we begin to cloud our own vision. So we don't comprehend God, the universe, or ourselves. Blind, deaf, and dumb. And surely the vilest of beasts are the blind, the deaf, and the dumb. Thank you for your question. Wa alaikum salam. What is the what? Yes, it is. It's warning the brothers and the sisters. Don't get carried away with study guide 18 and go to looking around choosing somebody for your second or your third or your fourth. Don't run ahead of God. Please believe me, this is nothing to play with. Women are nothing to play with. They are not playthings, my dear brothers. And when a man makes the mistake of playing with women, he's playing with fire that will burn him, brothers. This is nothing to play with.
if God permits this, it will be because of an imbalance in nature. To correct that imbalance, it would never be for sport or play or sexual favor. It will always be for the advancement of the nation and never for the degradation of the nation. And whenever that is called upon, women are called upon, as they have always been called upon, to bear the pain of birth, the pain of rearing children, bearing the pain of errant husbands. They're called upon again to bear the pain of sharing what they love for a cause that is bigger than their pain or what they love. It's a heavy thing. And that's why I asked you to study it. Because I wanted you to bear the pain of Sister Clara Muhammad. And I wanted you to see and feel how she was overwhelmed by her pain and felt not only betrayed by her husband, but betrayed by God himself. When a woman lives faithful, as Sister Clara Muhammad lived, to her husband and to this mission for 40-odd years, and could say to me that she don't know anything that she had done in 40 years that would not permit her to stand in front of Allah without shame. That's a good woman. But the one thing she could not understand was that part in the Quran where a man could have more than one wife. And because she hated that part of the Quran, she never allowed her heart to become submissive to her intelligence. Her emotions overcame her desire to submit to the will of God. And in that instance, she rebelled. And in rebelling against that, it brought on her an old sickness that she had conquered in the early days of her Islam. And it ultimately took her life away. But before she passed, she came to see the necessity, even though it was painful. She came to see it. I don't know whether this was in the study guide, but in 1971, I was in Miami with Brother Akbar Muhammad. He was with me. We were lecturing in Miami, and she was staying there in the home of the late Sister Lana Shabazz, who was a cook for the messenger and also the cook for Muhammad Ali. And Brother Akbar and I went to the home of Sister Lana Shabazz, and Sister Clara Muhammad was there. And she came out of the back room where she was and sat with us in the living room and asked us about the palace which was being constructed at that time. And I described to her how the palace was coming along, and she made these statements. She said, "I don't think I will live to see that home." And she didn't. And then she said, and Brother Akbar's a witness, she said, "Brother Lewis," I think she called me Brother Farrakhan. She said, "Brother Farrakhan, you have more Islam in your little finger than all my children combined." Did she say that, Brother Akbar? I never opened my mouth. I did not know what to say. But can you imagine a woman that loved a man who is a messenger of God? And she comes to realize in the closing days of her life that even though she produced children, she was barren in one sense because her children would not carry on the work of her husband. And so when she was in Mercy Hospital on her deathbed,
she sent for me. And when I came to the hospital to see her, the last words that she spoke to me was, help my husband, brother. Help my husband. He's getting up in age now and he can't do what he used to do. Brother, help my husband. And I promised her on that bed that I would help her husband. She saw in me more the spiritual son of that man. And now I can point with pride and say that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is vindicated in that today the assistant minister of Mosque number 2 is the son of Elijah Muhammad from Sister Tainetta Muhammad. Rasul Muhammad, another son of Elijah Muhammad, is the minister in Detroit. Kamal Muhammad, a son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is the national secretary of the nation. Well then, if Elijah Muhammad now produced helpers now from women who were wives of his, not his first wife, but came out of the domestic life, then the children are the vindication of what we judged in error. God loved Sister Clara Muhammad, but he would not succumb to her pain and let her pain and her emotional reaction to his will stop him from guiding his servant to do something that would be good for us in the millions. And if he listened to her pain, he would say, oh, I'm so sorry. I know it's hurting you. So, no, God don't think like that. You can have all the pain you want. God is not going to bow down and cry with you. You cried and get up and say there's no God but Allah. And Muhammad is his messenger. I'm walking on with God. Yeah. If God was some weak man that cared about your crying and mine, he never would have permitted us to come into slavery. A man having a few wives is not as hard as seeing a woman with her gut ripped open and her baby, the fruit of her womb, falling on the ground and somebody crushing its head with their heel. Think about what we suffered in slavery. And God permitted it. He don't care nothing about you crying. He had something better in mind 400 years down the road. And your crying wasn't going to stop his will. His will ain't for today. He plans for thousands of years in the future. That is why we in our little finite existence, we want God to do everything in our little time slot. When you just got here yesterday and are leaving tomorrow, God is ageless and forever. No? Thank God that our fathers went through that so we could benefit now from their suffering. I thank God for Sister Clara Muhammad. Yes, sir. I love her, love her, love her, love her, love her. I shall always honor, revere, and respect her memory. I understand her pain. And I understand the pain of any woman who has to suffer that. But I also am trying to rise above emotion into the thinking of God. That God knows best. He is the best of planners. And if we can't take the little pain to enjoy the fullness of his promise, then we're not worthy. Yes, a warning was in that, all right. And I want the brothers to really accept that warning and look at your wife and be a faithful husband to your wife.
and learn to live with your wife and overcome the problems with your wife and make your wife happy. And then when you can prove that you're faithful over little, then maybe God will make you ruler over much. But don't try to jump into the much until you've shown that you're worthy by doing right by the wife that you got. And while I'm on that subject, this ain't no meat market here. These sisters are not like meat, and we are dogs in a meat market. We'll take a bite out of this one. No, it's okay. Spit that out and go bite some other piece of meat. That's pretty good too, but it ain't quite what I want too. Every woman in here can make every man happy if that man knows how to mine out of her soul what God has placed there for him. But he's not a good miner, so he'll run and say, that woman wasn't nothing. Hell no. It ain't that the woman ain't nothing. You just ain't no damn miner, that's all. I'm just telling you the truth. No, brother, when you know how to mine, you work your mind till it produce something for you. Hello. Now, I'm going to say something to the sisters now. Sometimes, sisters, you don't even recognize a good man when you see him. You're such silly women sometimes. I got to give some balance here. Sometimes you got a good man, and he's so good till you can't even see. He'll work for you. He'll bring his money home. He'll do whatever he can for you. He just ain't going to beat you. You don't like him because he's tender. He don't look like a real man. What the hell are you looking for? Well, I want more of a man. In other words, you want somebody that's beat the hell out of you. That's what you want. If a man is feeding you, working for you, bringing his money home to you, what more do you want? The man is loving you, but he just ain't no brute. He just ain't the man I'm looking for. That's all there is to it. I wish you just be a man. You got the wrong concept of what a man is. Some of you got a concept of a man based upon your father. He may be, he may not be. Or some man in your life that brutalized you, but you just loved him so. I mean, we got such warped perception of what reality is. Yeah, that's right. But we all need to be tuned up a little. So just like I'm tuning up the brothers, it would be wrong for me to leave the sisters out here hanging when you mess up so much yourself. And let me say this, sister. Every one of these men can be what you want. But you got to learn how to handle them. You can't be no big mouth Susie. You get so frustrated you won't chop him up because you know he ain't supposed to hit you. You just going, well, all right now. And you just want to, let's do something about it then. I mean, some of you get bad. You just want to fight some man or something. And you know damn well he'd break your neck. Some of them will. Some of them you'll kill, but... Sisters, don't dog a man. when you discover his weakness, as a loving wife, help him overcome his weakness. Not by jabbing him in it. After you destroy him, then what? What you gonna do? All of these men are good. There ain't none of them that's bad. But sisters, you got the upper hand today and don't know how to play your own hand. You got more knowledge of self in a sense than he does. You study him more than he studies you. You scheme on him while he's trying to make ends meet. So, sister, why don't you use your study intelligently to make him into a better man? That's what my wife did. I'm telling you, that's right. You're looking at a product. Sister Farrakhan did a hell of a job. And I'm not ashamed to say it, brother. My wife did not think, and she ain't never said this, but I'm saying it. You can ask her. She may not say nothing to you. But she didn't think I was such a hot man or nothing like that when I came into mosque with her. No, brother. I was a little sweet musician. I was sincere, loving, kind, sensitive, caring. I was all of that. But you know, you can be all of that and not really a man. You understand what I'm saying? But a man was sitting up inside that caring fella. And if she didn't have sense to help nurture it, she was going to be the loser. Not the man. I don't know whether she saw what I was going to be. But she had sense. She stuck with me. And she helped me by not tearing down the little manhood that the messenger was trying to give me. Every brother in here wants to be a man. His nature is man and his nature is God. He wants to be that. That's what he came here for. Sisters, the MGT class is so important for you to learn how to handle the brother, so you don't destroy your future with him by the way you handle your mouth. I'll get into that at another time, in a more private setting. You understand? But sisters, don't cut the brothers up. Don't speak to them when you're angry. Let him blow off and you take it. Why must I take it all the time? Well, if you want a man, you're going to have to help make him. And if you can't take a little to make a man what God wants him to be, then you really don't want a man. There ain't nothing else out there. Now, if you think you're going to get something better, go ahead and try it. Every puddle you step in is deeper and deeper and deeper. All of us can look good for a minute. The idea is to stay married over the long distance. Hello. Let's get on with the next question. Now it's almost time for me to go. Yes, sir, brother. Yes, that is true. I think I know what he means. We don't really get to know a person, the real person, until the physical part of that person is gone from us. Is that what you're talking about? That's true, brother. Because this veil veils the real you.
We speak a certain way, we think a certain way, and sometimes we make people angry with us. We hurt them even, and they don't get to see us like we really are. And sometimes, if you notice, when a person that you had disagreements with, you didn't like them, and then all of a sudden, they're dead and gone. And then you begin to see, man, they were not so bad. I really miss so and so and so. But what we want to do, my dear brother, is to get acquainted with the real person as best we can while they're alive. And there is a way to do that. May I suggest what that way is? You start from the teachings of Master Farad Muhammad. That's number one. He said, quote, "Who is the original man?" And the answer, the original man is the Asiatic black man, maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Who is that? That's us. English lesson number C1 asks the question, what is your own self? My own self is what? A righteous Muslim. So when I meet you, brothers, I don't care what the physical appearance is. I know that I am looking at God. That's where I start. When I shake your hand, when you come up to shake my hand, I'm just as honored to shake your hand as you are to shake mine, because I know I'm shaking the hand of God. I don't care whether you're 2 years old, 22, 202. This is God I'm looking at. So I'm going to try to treat you like I would treat God. And even though you show me from your sojourn in hell that you are not quite living up to who you are by nature, neither am I. But I'm going to give you the credit for being who you are, because the best knower taught us who we are. And you know what, brothers and sisters, if you start dealing with each other, not with what we present ourselves as in the state of our ignorance, but treat one another as God has told us we are in our essence, then you begin to mine the best out of us. Do you follow what I'm saying? Thank you for your question, brother. What time is it, please? 9:05. I've got about 15 more minutes. You want to recognize somebody? Yes, ma'am. There's a sister in the back in the green that has been raising her hand, but we're after sister, okay? Yes, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam. I can't tell you. Myself, as God is my witness, it was none of my business. And I only know what the Holy Quran said, but I never tried counting the messenger's wives. And I never asked him, how many wives you got, dear apostle? Who are they? Where are they? Are they still with you? It wasn't my business. So I just try to mind my business and read the book and study the book. And the book said that Muhammad was given 9, he took 11. That's sufficient for me. I will say what the book said, but I never asked the messenger, and he never told me. And I'm telling you what I know is wise to take care of your business. Yeah. Wait a minute, I just want to make a comment. A sister, she may be here tonight, but sister said to me, well, what are their names? Who are they? I said, it's not necessary.
for you to know their names. If I gave you their names, what difference would it make? I said, we're not dealing with personalities. We're dealing with a principle here. And if you can understand the principle that undergirds the wives, it don't make no difference how many or who. Deal with the principle. And if you're successful in dealing with that, may God bless you. You got it. But as God is my witness, I never asked the messenger. There's some that I knew, and I know that there's some that I don't know. And I have never, in 36 years of my Islam, tried to count them. Never. Not to this day. Because it ain't my affair. I'm trying to keep myself on the path. Thank you, sister. Sister, straight ahead. Yes, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam.
Is it possible that the cells of the human body can redevelop or reconstruct an organ that has been severely damaged and or taken out? And if so, what is the process? Is it diet or salt?
Oh, sister, you really laid one on us. But, you know, my dear sister, the messenger, I can only tell you what the messenger said, and I know I'll be on the right course. There was a sister who came to the messenger who could not have children. And she asked the messenger, because I think her organs had been taken out. He said, oh, sister, he said, that's not a problem. He said, we will take you to a certain island and we will restore you. The Holy Quran teaches us of Allah that He can reproduce you even down to your fingertips. So you know He can reproduce cells and cause new growth. I don't think that it's from diet. You could eat all you want. You're not going to grow new ovaries. A little deeper than a diet. And you can think up all you want. You ain't going to think that up. God has to help you to do that, as you didn't think up your ovary in the beginning. God is He who gave you the organs, and it is only God who can give them to you again. And this is why, to me, Savior's Day, 1991, October the 7th, was so important, because I went up into the mountains because of this cancer, and I went to pray to God to kill all my enemies. I'm telling you what I went for. I just got sick of my enemies. And I got sick of tolerating their foolishness. I got sick of seeing, and what triggered it was the shooting of Brother Rodney in Baltimore. I took that very personal. So I said, I'm just going to go and ask Allah to kill all my enemies. That's all there is to that. And, that ain't strange, because prophets have asked God to kill their enemies, and He has. But when I went up in the mountain to pray, I got a totally different spirit. And as I was praying to Allah to make me whole, to heal me in mind and body and spirit, and to renew me, and to make me an example of His promise to us that instead of our getting older, He would reverse the process. I begged God in the name of the messenger to do this. And while I was up in the mountain, it came to me that I should declare this cancer and declare God's healing power publicly. And then ask Him to heal everyone in that audience. And the Spirit of Allah came to me that It don't make no difference whether they were there or not. All they got to do is hear the tape. I asked him, don't put no conditions on the people. No condition that they believe or that they're righteous or that they do this. No. Just heal them. That they may know that you are God and that you have come to heal us and to save us and to make us whole. And at the same time that I was thinking on this, the thought came to me, and I don't think I mentioned it on the Savior's Day, but the thought came to me to just have a general amnesty and to forgive the sins. Most of our sickness comes from sin anyway. So you can't heal disease until you release people from the burden of sin. So that has happened with the help of God. Each of us, and all of us are sinners in one way or another, but just to know that our slate has been wiped clean. And some of our slates, you got to have some juice to wipe that slate clean. And afterwards, you begin to feel like you're free. And like a big burden lifted up off your head. Well, now health can come to you from any sickness because the mind is not burdened with the thing that made you sick, which is sin. So don't go and put some mess back on your sheet again. Keep it kind of clean as best you can. You know what I mean? And we live in hell. We're bound to make a mistake, but let's not wallow. You know what I mean? And get crazy. So my dear sister, diet plays an important part, but it won't renew organs. Thought plays an important part, but I don't think it will reproduce new organs. But God himself will do this for his servants. That's a promise that I heard through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And any sister that does not have her female reproductive organs, when you come into this kind of teaching, sometimes you get really depressed. And I just want you to lift up your heads and believe in Allah and continue to strive in his way, and he will bless you. And if you live to see the hereafter, which Sunday, if you are blessed to come out Sunday, I'm hoping that Allah will bless me with a magnificent subject. I hope it'll be. It came to me while I was down in the Caribbean taking care of some business. And when I get quiet, things come to me. And this subject that I hope to deliver to you Sunday came to me. And it deals with the oath that we say, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. I wish that you would come out Sunday and bring someone with you. Just think of someone that you would like to hear the teachings and ask Allah to help you to get them. And just make a phone call after you pray and bring a friend. And I hope that Allah will bless all of us Sunday to retrieve our people and let them meet you, a happy people, a relieved people, a people who, as I read in the 94th surah, which is the 94th birthday of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he says, and when you are relieved of your burden, then you work hard and make Allah your exclusive object. Huh? And you've been relieved of your burden, so now work hard and make Allah the exclusive object of your worship. Thank you. And now, brother over here, I think this will be the last question. I'm sorry. I think our time is just about up. Brother Ishmael, would you, or better yet, Joshua, would you call the palace and see if my guests have arrived? They have not left the airport. Have they picked them up at the airport? 9:10. Gets later by the minute, doesn't it? Okay. Well, I got a few more minutes then. I'll get to everyone with the help of Allah. Yes, sir. Walaikum salam. No, sir. The God force within yourself is not powerful enough to deliver you. It's not developed. You have to pray to the God who taught you of the God force of yourself. But if you pray to yourself, you might as well forget it. You don't have the power to answer your own prayers, brother. You have to pray to Him who has the power to answer all of our prayers and all of our needs. And we have never been made self-sufficient. I'll go into all of that Sunday by the help of Allah. Thank you for your question. Yes, brother? Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Malcolm X was one of the great disciples of Elijah Muhammad. And as you know, he deviated from his teacher. In death, the enemy decided to use Malcolm against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So they made his autobiography required reading on college campuses throughout this nation. Instead of hurting the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they really helped the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because many of you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and even though you didn't come away from reading the book wanting to be a follower necessarily of the messenger, you were intrigued by what the messenger taught Malcolm. The movie will never be as exciting as the book, because the book on the autobiography of Malcolm shows Malcolm as most of you and us as a people. We were wayward. We were school dropouts. We got into a life of crime, dealt with drugs. Some pimped and hustled women. So we can, in a sense, identify with Malcolm's years of just being a total Negro. But then he meets Islam, and it made a profound change in him, like it has made a profound change in you and me. And then, of course, Malcolm grows to be this giant. And then he leaves the Honorable Elijah Muhammad at the height of his career for his reasons, as you get them in his book. And then, of course, he learns of the messenger's domestic life, and he uses it in a negative way against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Well, now Louis Farrakhan, by the grace of God, who was a student under Malcolm and a student of the Honorable, beginning to listen to and turn to. Well, the enemy is dumbstruck, because he doesn't have a living black man to use against me. He can't use Warathuddin against me. No, not today. No. He can't use Jesse against me. Not today. There's no black leader out there alive that he can use now against Farrakhan. So how do you get Farrakhan? That's the aim. It ain't got nothing to do with Malcolm. It's to stop the youth from hearing Farrakhan. They're helping me. They're helping me. I ain't saying nothing. Shoot the movie, man. Shoot the movie. Your leader and teacher was never afraid of people condemning him. He said that they took out an ad in the biggest newspaper and cussed me out line by line for several pages. They would only help me. There's a lot of things in the movie that I think that I have an understanding of that I really don't like. They try to take black women away from the messenger by putting words in the messenger's mouth against women. They try to show the messenger as a weak and immoral man, and they try to show the messenger as a man full of jealousy and envy for his student. But I'm a student. You understand? And my dad wasn't jealous of me. You understand? And I happen to be alive and have done more in life than Malcolm did during his life. Without the aid of a book and people whipping me up, on the campus. The devil's trying to destroy me. So now, brother, if my dad wasn't jealous and is not jealous of me, how could he have been jealous of Malcolm? Why should a man be jealous of his own student that he made? And he always knew more than his student. No matter how good his student could talk, the student didn't know what the teacher knew. So they're trying now to use Malcolm and endear Malcolm to the youth, then turn their love for Malcolm against Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. And they want to subtly suggest that I had something to do with Malcolm's murder. You see? It ain't gonna work, brother. Ain't gonna work. I don't care what they do. We're the winner. If we don't play the emotional game, that's why I'm trying to tell you, we gotta rise above emotion. There's no lover of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that wants to see their leader and teacher put in some role in a film that we know is not correct. But your emotional reaction to that has already been calculated by the wicked. And we're not going to play on the stage that they erect, because we're the winner. Every time I see a man with an X hat on, I say, now look at that. I said, now I'm going to teach him what that X means. Don't tell people don't wear no X hat. Officials of the mosque, don't do that. Let them wear the X hat. If you want to get one yourself. Don't you have an X? And then when somebody asks you what's your name, tell my name Michael PX, man. I'm Henry 24X. Hey, man, what, you got an X? Say, yeah, don't you have one? Then you can start teaching. And the more you teach, they say, man, that's right. Woo, woo. And then they'll spread that. It's an opportunity for you, brothers, to defend the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with intelligence and win the people. From what I understand, the film closes with people chanting, we want Malcolm, we want Malcolm, we want Malcolm. Beautiful. Well, we know they can't get Malcolm. We know where Malcolm is. So hell, if you say, we want a fox coat, 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 and somebody says, here is a mink coat, here is a mink coat, here is a mink coat, here. Who want a fox when you can wear mink? Oh man, look, this is an opportunity, brothers and sisters. So don't you fear nothing. don't care what they do. You're the winner. God has already declared you to be the winner if you don't act with emotion. Let them get you angry. You want to fight somebody. Hell no, you want to teach somebody. So you won't have to fight them. We'll fight the enemy. Not the ignorant ones of our people. May Allah bless you to arm yourself. Brother Abdullah, you got your hands full. You have to arm these brothers and sisters with the knowledge of how to defend everything that we believe is in that film, that you got a platform now. We're already preparing the ministers. They're going to cut loose. Brother Farrakhan going to sit at home and watch Brother Khalid, the blade, the sword of Allah. I'm going to watch Brother Ali, Brother Akbar, Brother Conrad, Brother Ismail. I'm going to watch the soldiers of Muhammad go on and declare the truth. They'll be on the television talking. And what did you think about the move? And such and such and so on. Well, you're going to tell you your opinion. And teach. And make it make sense. And with the help of Allah, we'll give you the arguments. The Quran is the best argument. And it says, argue with them in the best manner. Now you got a chance to argue in the best manner. And God is going to make you the winner. You're already the winner. You just have to get in the ring and fight. But be sure to get in the gym and get into shape. Now, okay, sister, I saw sister's hand. Yes, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam. Who am I? If I am what I think, what am I thinking? Then you have to look and say, well, what gives rise to this kind of thinking? Then if you can analyze all of that, then what is the steps to take to correct self? Now, you know, I've been trying this, and believe me, I'm trying to be an example of what I teach, so I have to experiment, you know. You know, brothers and sisters, your mind is a hell of a workshop here. This thing here is handling some stuff every day. And some of the stuff that this is handling is stuff that we make up. I mean, we got vivid imaginations. Where's my husband? He was supposed to be here for. Oh, God. He can't be. What? Then you put your husband with somebody. Or you put your wife with somebody. Now your head is really rocking. Now all of a sudden your image changed. Evil come over your face because what you're thinking is murder now. And instead of casting this out, you sit it down by the fireplace and entertain it. Come on in, sit down. Let me play this whole drama out. When she come home, I'm going to ask her, where the hell you been? And she's going to tell me, well, I've been so. And I'm going to smack her in her mouth and say, I know where you've been. And by the time you play the drama out, you so evil now, here comes the knock on the door. It's your wife. Hi, baby. Don't you hi, baby, me. You put yourself in a state where your thoughts have become real. Because once you think them, the emotional reaction to your thought is the same as the real thing. As if the person was actually guilty of that, you get the same physical reaction because you put your mind in that state. So now you got to learn how to cast out a thought. That ain't worthy. I ain't going to entertain you. You don't have somebody come to your door, you don't want them as a bill collector. You peep through the windows of all hell, it's the bill collector. But you act like you're not home. You don't open your door and just come in, let's sit down and talk about my bills. You let him ring and ring and ring and ring, and you just act, keep on ringing. Pretty soon he goes away. Thank God he went away. I didn't want to see him anyway. But that's what you got to do to the wrong thoughts. Self-correction. You got to correct yourself. There ain't going to be a captain wise enough to see all the hell that we get into. Talk to me. I mean, the supreme captain is a great captain now. But hell, he can't see all the hell that we getting into. Talk to me. But if he look at you long enough, he can see it, because hell come right out of your face. Believe me, just like you can think evil and change the whole expression in your face, you can change the energy field around you so that people can't even come near you. You're so funky. Yeah, you can get so funky here that you, excuse my expression, I didn't mean to be vulgar, but funk is just funk. And you can get to thinking and become King Funky. And don't nobody want to get near you. You begin to just think. Where was I anyway? What I was trying to say, I guess I lost my point. That you have to learn how to cast certain thoughts out. And you got to practice this. Because every day you're being bombarded with energy, negative energy, coming at you from the time you get up. You get out of your house, you turn on the radio. I mean, you're being hit from every angle. And then you start thinking, and you don't even know where the thoughts came from. But if you're quick and you analyze, oh, this thing, no, you ain't coming in here today. Get the hell out. Close the door. Tell them I don't want you in my house. And pretty soon the thought will leave you. Then replace that thought with a thought that is generating life. Do you follow what I'm saying? Look at your motives. Here's that sister. I really like her, but I don't want to let her know that I like her. So I'm going to slip up to her and give her the greetings. So now here come Assalamu Alaikum now with some other foreign motive underneath it. It don't mean peace be unto you. You know, peace be unto me. Excuse me, I think it's time for me to go. Okay, thank you. They're calling time on me. What time is it? Okay, thank you. But brothers and sisters, I have to go now. My point is, if you start analyzing why you say what you say, why you do what you do, why you dress as you dress, why you act as you act, you begin to start seeing what's up under your words, your thoughts, your actions. And then you begin to say, oh, that's not so righteous. That's not so good. And before anyone else can correct you, you apply. Self-correction. I'm going to get that together. And you see, you got to make the decision yourself to do this. And it's so much easier when you do it. Because you're in control then. And you wait for somebody else to do it, it becomes harsh. Am I making any sense? Good. Well, I thank you for, I enjoy always being in your company. Oh, and I love you very, 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 very much. Thank Allah for each and every one of you. Study Guide 19 is just about ready, and it is on Master Farad Muhammad. And that's a subject that you have to get proficient in to defend your faith in Him as God in person. I thank you, all of you, for a wonderful evening. And I hope and pray that each of us will take our study seriously. 1 hour, a minimum. Give yourself. Get up a little early. Make your 5 o'clock prayer. Do 15 or 20 minutes of exercise. And then settle down and read some verses of the Quran and your lessons. And then get yourself ready for your day. And you'll be surprised how when you start your day right, you are armed with what it takes to ward off what you're going to face. You can't face this world without God. You've got to start with prayer. You hear? I'll close with these words. The Bible says, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of Satan. You can't go out partly armed. And if you look in the Bible, it talks about what you should have on your head, what you should have on your chest, what you should have on your foot, what you should have in your mouth, what kind of armament you should have. And when you know that you got all of that, then go out and face the world. And I'm telling you, you'll come back as you went out. You'll go out a Muslim, you'll come back a Muslim, able to stand against the wiles of Satan. May Allah bless each and every one of you. And I thank you, Sister Ava, and thank the teachers who are handling the study circles. Thank you from the depth of my heart for aiding me in bringing the study to those who believe in the teachings and want to study the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. May Allah bless you all as I greet you in peace and pray that He will continue to increase you in health and in strength and in wisdom and power and righteousness, that we may retrieve our people and lay the foundation of a new government that will never be removed from the earth. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you Sunday as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. I so much.